Hi, and welcome to Sixcess Stories. We are your hosts, Christina Gent,
and Eric Ozarowski.
and this is where we get to share real conversations with the members of the 6 Degrees community about life, leadership, and the power of meaningful connections. And on today's episode, we have Amanda Natalia, owner of Natalia Law, where she focuses on estate planning and trust.
Yeah, in this episode with Amanda, we talk about some of her parenting practices to socialize her kids and also teach them independence. We get into her wanting to be a net positive for society and for her community and how involved she is in being part of her community and all the things that she does with both her family and independently, the ways that she supports the La Mesa community that she's part of.
Yeah, this episode is super special just because Amanda's somebody who has really invited us into her personal life. And so just getting to sit down with her and really hear more about her definitions of success and being the net positive, which I very much feel that she is. She's such a light. And so this opened my mind up to even more that I didn't know about her beforehand. So this was a beautiful episode, and I hope that you enjoy Sixcess Stories.
How are you doing though?
I'm okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm busy.
Busy?
I'm busy as always.
The good kind of busy or the busy kind of busy?
It's a mixed bag.
Yeah.
Just because I had so much planned this year from, as you already know, I took this year to be a year about education for myself. And so I had these big goals, but milestones throughout the year, like doing the Leadership Academy in the beginning of the year. I knew I was taking my family on the first trip to Italy. I mean, just overseas, first trip for us.
Yeah.
We're mostly campers, as you know. And then I was toying with the idea of doing this specialist exam that I just did in October, but that was kind of something I was going to see as I got closer, whether I was going to do it or not. I ended up doing all of those things this year, but
Overachiever.
and then had obviously life happen around it with just my aunt situation and all that. So, and now I'm finally through all those big hurdles, and another really big opportunity is presenting itself to me, which isn't ready to be announced just yet. And I'm trying to do some soul searching just about how busy I've been through the year
Yeah.
and how much that's taken away from, when you have only so much finite energy, you have to pull it from somewhere to pour it further in one direction or another.
Yeah.
And I just have to kind of have that come to Jesus with myself as to, can I pull from more, or maybe continue this flow of pull from places in my life to pour it somewhere else without impacting negatively the things that matter to me, like my business and my family and all that. So I'm kind of having that soul searching. So am I busy? I'm busy. And now I'm wondering if I'm going to stay busy, or do I need some time off or what have you. But
Sure. A little bit of in the middle.
it's in the middle. It's good. It's been good busy too. Just good busy because I've had a really, especially with a year where I have had so much focus on education and professional development. My business has been growing, which I actually, just as small of a business as I have, I'm not always sure if I was ready for it to just be a flat year, relative. But no, it's had growth this year, which is great. So that's good, busy. Just trying to figure out how to juggle all the balls in the air and keep them in the air at the same time, and what my life path is going to be in addition to work. So those things.
Well, we can talk about all of that.
Yeah.
But before we do, one of the ways we like to start these is with a check-in, similar to how we do in the group. So as a check-in for today, I'm curious what each of us are grateful for with everything that you just said, with everything that you have going on and that we have going on. What's the one thing that we are grateful for in this moment?
I will start with this. I am grateful for the ability that I have right now, the energy that I have right now in my life, just addressing to how busy I am. But I'm thankful to have the energy and the capable body that lets me do, a capable brain currently that lets me do the things that, I'm doing now and explore these passions. I work with people all the time who are in a different phase of their life, oftentimes on a declining phase of their life. Yeah. And it's beautiful what they've done to that point in many cases, in most cases. But the reality is I'll be there too at some point. But right now, I have probably the most energy I'll ever have, the most capability I'll ever have. And I'm really grateful to have this and have the opportunity to take that moment of pause and just look at where I am and be grateful for this moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I think especially with the conversations that I've been having even just today, I'm super grateful for how much support we have. It's been, so as you mentioned, like it's been a hard year for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. It's just been such an uncertain year for a lot of people. I think that a lot of people are, I've heard the phrase waiting for the other shoe to drop so many times in even the past month in conversations that I'm having. And so to see the support come through for even the asks that we've had for people, even with inviting people to the holiday party as an example, right? And there's multiple people who are like, yep, let me try, let me invite some people. So even those moments and those ways of support are huge. And I just feel it so much right now. And I'm so grateful for that, for such a strong community of people.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think I'm grateful for two things, but one with what you said around just like the people that we have in our lives right now. It just feels like a really just real, genuine, caring, supportive, want to see us win type of community, which is amazing. And then the other part, I just got off a call with my best friend, and his mom's going through some kind of like what you talked about, the hard parts of she's going through what sounds like the final stage. So health is the other thing that is kind of top of mind for me with this conversation, and obviously naturally with what you do.
Anytime you ask me how yes, always. I'm really happy to be alive.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to have a functioning body and brain.
Yeah.
I wake up excited about all three of those things most days.
Right. What's interesting, so you both alluded to it a little bit, and what I'm struck by is like, so this uncertainty piece, and there's thinking back of what's certain.
Yeah.
When is it? Obviously, there's times it ebbs and flows, but like the future's uncertain. Period.
Right. That's a good point.
So I'm curious, why is this different, or when is?
I think it's a nice thing to say that there is so much uncertainty. You're right. Uncertainty is constant. It's a nice thing to say to help us recognize a moment that feels difficult, but it's a collective difficult. But having lived through, the 2008 mortgage crisis and so many other different times, COVID, you know what I mean? A lot of us have experienced times where we had a collective difficulty about us. I feel even when I say it's hard, that doesn't mean we're not going to get through it. I have resolve. I have those things.
Right.
But I do feel like maybe there's a pleasantness or a pleasantry exchange when you say, like, it's really hard right now. It's just hey, whatever's tough, I'm recognizing, let's recognize that you're doing great or you're doing your best or what have you. But I mean, to get back to what you're saying, uncertainty is constant. I think we already know that. We always know that it's the back of our mind, but some things just bring that feeling, that sense to the forefront. And it feels like a nice exchange of pleasantness when you say, it's tough out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's real tough. Let's just remind ourselves things are always changing, always in flux, and it's worth speaking about. So
yeah, it's so interesting to me with what you said is so true though. Everything's uncertain, and sometimes I think about what kind of surfaces is like, I don't see how we're going to get through it. And at other times, for some of us, it's knowing that we are.
Right.
We're pretty resilient as a species.
Yeah.
We've made it through
Life finds a way.
Quite a bit as a society, as a species, and all these things.
Well, because it's interesting, even you mentioned COVID, right? And that was a time where I feel like a lot of people were also expressing the same type of feelings of uncertainty. When is this going to be over? When is, right? There was so much divisiveness of mask, no mask, people pointing fingers, and all, there's just so many things were happening, and that's still happening. It's just different. But looking back, I know COVID was a very, very difficult time for a lot of people, and I don't want to put light on that. I know that a lot of people lost their lives to COVID. And I think that looking back on it, it's almost like, it wasn't as hard for a lot of us as like maybe we were trying to make it on ourselves almost, like because of so much of the conversations in society and kind of, I don't know, the media really, and how they really put people against each other instead of thinking about how it...
Well, even so, I mean, obviously the environment piece for you is really important, and I want to talk about that. But during COVID, the amount of just like the world healing, like all these cities and all these places where there aren't people, and all of these things blossoming, and just the earth feeling like a healthier, like all these beautiful pictures, right? That was
People
part
weren't
of
driving,
that
and
was
people
part
weren't,
of COVID.
Yeah.
Like the
for
whole
the
driving
first time
thing.
ever, we had a dip in carbon output as a
Right.
whole globe.
Yeah.
Why? Because everybody stopped driving their car.
Yeah, like it's crazy to think that it was, and it wasn't that. It was a blip. It was a
Right.
drop in the ocean in terms
Right.
of the amount of time. And look at the impact that it had.
Right.
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 Kind of crazy to think about.
It is crazy. I mean, and at the same time, the amount of conversations that I've had with people who talk to younger generations, people who were in kind of the high school, college stage of their lives, and how far back they are in terms of social norms and conversations and connecting with other humans.
Well, you have 2 kids.
I have
did you
2
experience
kids.
that?
I don't know that I'm experiencing it with my kids only because I'm like on the ride. So it's hard to see when you're
Sure.
on the ride with your own kids.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, just today, in fact, I mentor some junior high school students at Crawford High School. There's a program, really wonderful program called the Law Foundation.
Okay.
And as part of this program, these kids in this program get partnered with different attorneys, practicing attorneys, and we get to just meet with them once a month. We meet with them throughout the course of the year and really talk about everything, like what does it look like to go from high school to college to figuring out what you want to do, law school if that's your path, even if that's not your path, what is it like to just kind of make a plan, and make a plan for the future, and using your SMART goals, I'm sure those are pretty commonly talked about these days, execute at least the baby steps to show progress. Sometimes we talk about how do we improve a grade in a class? How do we how do we make goals for sports or what have you? But the reason I even mention this at all is because in interacting with junior level high school students, a lot of them say that we just don't want to go to school. We just don't want to go be in person. It's nerve-wracking. There's a lot of anxiety about going in person. There's anxiety about meeting new people. And they've expressed it. I feel privileged to have even been able to have those kinds of conversations with kiddos this age, young adults, so really they're almost out there on their own. And I think that's where I see it most, that level.
Yeah.
Probably see it in my kids too. I'm on the
remind
ride.
me
My
your kids'
kids
age.
my daughter just turned 10 and my son is 12.
Okay.
12 and a half, yeah.
Yeah.
Middle school, 5th and 7th grade right
Got it.
now.
So what year of school were they in during COVID?
Oh yeah, my son was in 2nd grade when COVID started.
Okay.
My daughter had a really interesting year because her birthday put her into what would have been a TK class, and she started TK, but then she entered school as a full reader. So they bumped her that year to kindergarten. That was her kinder year.
Okay.
It was extra crazy for her only because she went from one classroom to online to bumping up a grade.
Yeah.
She missed quite a bit. That happened there, accelerated real fast and unusually through her kindergarten year.
Yeah.
But these are the kindergarten kiddos that definitely, you don't think it's an important grade, but it's such a foundational grade to learn how to be a student, sit down and listen and all the things that kind of make the conducive learning environment. They did have to learn that later.
Yeah.
And again, I'm so biased with my kids, so it's hard for me to see. I think the one thing that has been a saving grace, and within my own home and with my own kids, is we're very social people. We're a very social family.
Yeah.
We take them to lots of different kinds of social events and IRL, they will call them, in real life events. And I think that has helped. We did it before COVID, and as soon as we were safely able to do it, we did it after COVID. It was just kind of a pause. I think that there was some continuity to our life being very social before and after that helped them in some way to still be able to sharpen those tools.
Yeah, there's
social
some
tools.
just natural social skills.
Yeah.
I think the thing that the remote world of work, the osmosis, the things that I
Yes.
pick up just being around people,
Yes.
we don't realize it. But like same thing for
Absolutely.
your kids. I'm sure, we've been over to your place and it's like, yeah, these are my kids, and like there's a party and they're just there and
Just hanging out.
There's
oftentimes having their own kiddo party, in
but
another
just
room of the
being
house.
in
Yeah.
that environment
Right.
is probably beneficial
Yes.
in more ways than we even realize.
Right. Yeah. But to your point, I work not in a totally isolated setting because I do have a home office I work out of predominantly, but I do have a relationship with a co-working space that I'm in often. But that's not dedicated attorneys or professional services, just a co-working space.
Yeah.
And I definitely miss That's the one thing that I am always challenged by, is not having kind of that easy access to people practicing, what you're practicing, other attorneys, other people in my profession that I had once upon a time when I was working in the office setting, where I could just knock on a door and get some questions.
Why isn't there why isn't there an attorney only co-working space?
Yes, I don't know.
Just in that industry, it's so niche.
Or legal services.
Legal services.
Yeah, legal.
Right, because oftentimes your
like
staff
why,
knows
like
the
why
answer
doesn't
that,
an industry
an attorney might
specific
not.
type co-working thing exist?
Well, yeah, I wonder how many attorneys, practicing attorneys, like how many people are out there that aren't in an office? And I'm sure there's plenty.
It's a growing number for sure. I mean, when my generation of attorney and newer, this is anecdotal, obviously I don't have statistics for it, but I would say it's very common when I go to my SDCBA events or Lawyers Club or any space where it's predominantly attorneys. Mm-hmm. I'm oftentimes surprised by how many are like, I don't have an office anymore. Or I have it like me, a satellite, something that you're just in twice a week or as needed or what have you. So that would be pretty cool to have just that dedicated space. I think there would
I've never
be a
heard
use
of
for
it.
that.
When you said it, I'm like, why? Like, there's got to be a reason.
Right.
But even so, all of these associations, like, they don't typically have spaces.
And actually they do. I don't want to take away. The San Diego County Bar Association does offer that service. So you can go and essentially rent their conference rooms if you're a member.
Yeah, and but that's different than what we're talking about.
Out of a space.
Than working
out of somewhere where I'm like getting the like water cooler type.
Exactly. You're totally right.
There's so much to relate to, like, in the same industry. That's actually such an interesting idea, right? To have a co-working space be that niche, to be about a certain industry. Huh.
And I think this is a good one because we do have in law just the ability to easily work alone. You know what I mean? Like, our licenses let us practice. We don't really need anything else in terms of large infrastructure. I think it would be a very easy profession, and I think it's one very conducive to something like this where you have the opportunity. Maybe you do rent, I don't know if it's per diems or what have you, but you just say, I'm in 2 days a week, or I'm in 3 days a week, and then as needed on top of that. And I think it would actually be a pretty welcome option. I think a lot of us are doing what I'm doing. When you do have the smaller firm, it definitely reduces your overhead costs by quite a lot to not have an office you're not going to half your week or what have you.
That's the other part is people even that have offices, they don't go necessarily. They're not, it's not like they're in the office. We have so many people that are like, I have an office, but I work from home or I stay close or whatever. And
there's so much value to, thankfully you can make it happen. Like, you can go to the events through the SDCBA or through these different organizations. Lawyers Club is the other one I mentioned, but there are plenty others. PASD is one that I'm part of. You can go to these events and you will have the opportunity to have that, but also just like at a party or anything else or an event you throw, and there's so many people at an event, you're trying to maximize your time. You're getting a few minutes. You're not like, hey, I have a question. Hey, what would you do if
it's a different
just found
setting.
Something? It's totally different.
It's a different setting.
Yeah, there's something that's missing there. And having worked in law now 20 years, I've only been licensed for 14 plus, but I worked in a law firm before I became a licensed attorney for 6 years. And I can see just in those, let's say 20 years total, the change in the way we practice. Of course, we were faxing in 2004 and hiring attorney services to come and pick up things and run them down to the court. And obviously that none of those things, they hardly exist these days, if you will. But this is the piece that I think that even me personally, I am missing, is just those quieter opportunities to have just the exchange of ideas. Body language sometimes can give you a lot of answers, inflection of a voice if you're not having phone calls. I personally prefer a phone call over anything else, but not everybody has that time or what have you. So this would be a great way to at least partially solve whatever that is and just make the space available. Now, if you build it, will they come?
Yeah. I just from understanding that industry, there's so many specialties and there's so many things that you're like, I can do that, but like, this is my lane and I would rather not. So if I had someone, I would happily refer it out. Right. It's so connected that way.
Right.
It just seems like a really natural way, opportunity for, I don't think us, but someone.
No, I'm not trying to build that.
How thin you want to spread this butter right now, everybody?
But I would imagine part of is the pie big enough to fill it?
Right, to fill it.
That is the question.
Because the big thing is like the location of the co-working type space. So how many attorneys
Right.
are in this area? But
Right.
I would imagine like it could still be worth it.
Oh, for sure. You'd have one in Mission Valley.
Mission
You
Valley,
get a
could
lot
do
of business there.
UTC
Downtown,
Del Mar,
probably.
yeah.
And one north. I don't know if it'd be UTC and Del Mar,
Yeah.
but somewhere near
One
there.
of those two.
Yeah. And then one down south, probably. You just get one in each
Downtown,
county
yeah.
almost.
The dicey part I could see
I mean,
potentially would be
area of the county, yeah.
the people in like litigation, and if
Mm-hmm.
there's opposing like in that same space, that could
Yeah.
there could be tension that builds up if that's
Yeah.
the case.
That's
Depending,
true.
yeah.
More than tension, I mean, I'd have to think through the ethics of it too, but I think you're fine. Like, I mean, again, you're not, when you're having these conversations, you're not generally disclosing anyone's name, anyone's exact, situation.
Yeah.
Even if I'm bumping into somebody and just asking them, what would you do if? It's a general fact pattern that you're exchanging ideas on.
Right.
Everybody is ethically bound to make sure that we're not fully disclosing exactly what's happening to who,
Right.
unless we have that permission to do so. So maybe, in terms of the ethics, you're probably fine, but we're attorneys. We're supposed to be an industry built on civility. Mm-hmm. If you're having a hard time, you just find out what days you can't go into the office, or, or you stay on either side. So-and-so needs to be on the first floor and I'm going to forever be on the third floor, and that's just, or whatever.
Yeah.
Make it work.
There's ways to make it work.
Totally.
It's a good idea.
What got you into law originally? So take us back to earlier in life, and like what was it about the law and
It was
the legal
not
path?
the law per se. The real answer is when I was younger, elementary age kiddo, my dad and I are much the same person. We're much the same person. He passed on in 2020. And growing up, he and I were so alike that we often butted heads. We knew which buttons to push, but I think through all of that, we were grinding out, if you will, a really positive relationship that helped me want to grow and flourish and all these things. But he used to tell me in the height of any of those moments of grinding it out, you just love to argue with me. You should be an attorney. And I used to tell him, I'm never going to do what you say, Dad, never. This might be a little older by the time I'm doing that. I might be teenager by then.
Sure.
But, I don't know if there was a seed planted. Probably a seed planted then. And my father, son of an immigrant family, oldest of 6, grew up in very, very humble means. One income supporting 8 people, that kind of situation, in a 2-bedroom house kind of thing. And so for him, I think what he was really telling me was, this is the height. Be the lawyer, be the doctor, be the something that he, I think in his mind, could never have imagined. Nobody in his family, on either side of my family, had ever even gone to college. And so, again, I think that's where that was happening, was these moments like he saw a spark of something, and then just, you're good at arguing, 9-year-old, you're good at arguing with me, 36-year-old or whatever he was at the time. And so this maybe should be your path. And so for the longest time, I didn't even think about that. I was in high school. I actually went to college at night. I was not happy being in high school. I knew I had a long way to go, and I didn't like in high school they tell you what to do. I really wanted to go do what I wanted to do, and I knew the only way to make that work out for me and have a path forward after that was to get out of high school. So as a junior, I went to college at night at Grossmont College. Okay. So I had a full junior year where I went to high school a day, college at night, and finished high school a junior, took quite a few AP classes so that I was able to actually start college when I did, pretty much a sophomore. But it was sometime in either my junior high at Grossmont or when I transitioned to San Diego State, which is where I ended up getting my undergrad from, that I met up with a boyfriend at the time who was very into poli-sci. He wanted to be a police officer or a politician or both. And so I kind of got wrapped up in his idea of what the future looked like. And for whatever reason, that sparked something in me.
He got your vote.
Mm-hmm. Got my vote. Sparked something in me. I was like, you know what? I could probably be an attorney. So again, that seed probably bloomed 20 years later or what have you. Maybe not that long, but 10 years later. And thought, what does it even take? I was already in a path at that point to do administration of justice. This is why I encountered somebody who was interested in police work or what have you, law enforcement generally. And so I was already in a good pathway for it. Mm-hmm. And thought once I graduated, I was like, I'll just go take the LSAT and see what happens. And every step along the way was just, I'm going to just go do this and see what happens. So was it me having a vision of the future that I'm going to be some kind of badass attorney or whatever, and this is what I'm going to do? I don't think I've ever had that kind of vision in my life. I often say, and my friends have heard me, I'm sure you too have heard me say this, that I just bump into walls and find myself places.
Yeah.
Good or bad, most of it has been good, so I've been really lucky, I guess. But this was kind of one of those, well, I'm just going to go, this person inspired me, and my dad told me I should do it, so let me just take the LSAT. Oh, I did pretty good on the LSAT. Okay. I got into, a couple of schools, local schools. I knew I wanted to stay in San Diego, and I didn't have a lot of resources, so the affordability was a big element for me at the time, too. So I selected Cal Western and did my 3/4 program so I could stay working full time. I worked my full time all the way through college and all the way through law school. Went to school, went around work, in other words. And yeah, I don't know. I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to go to law school and see if I can do it. And then I did it. And I was like, oh, okay, then take the bar, see if I can do it. You know what I mean? It was just it. So what was it? It was a combination of every little touch along the way in that story. But nothing has ever been like, oh, I'm going to have this vision of the future. I feel like actually, unlike a lot of people that I admire, yourselves included, I feel like I lack vision for myself in the future. So I have vision for other people. I have vision for my kids. I have vision for my family. But my own vision for me is a little hazy. It's always been very hazy. So hopefully I'm landed where I meant to be. Told you there was an opportunity coming. I'm like, oh, I know. Should I take it? I don't know. Let's do it. Let's see. That's how I do my life.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. We've talked about like the intentionality is something that you've learned from us, but I envy sometimes because I'm more like you in a lot of ways in the sense that like I'll say yes and usually it ends up being the right thing. Yeah. Right?
Right.
And we'll figure it out later.
And so he's like, you must have really just laid this path before you. I get that often. I have no idea how I got here.
I think that's a lot of
happy
people.
Accident.
Yeah, happy accident.
I mean, so many people I'll ask, oh, how'd you end up here? And I was like, by accident, right? Like I fell into, like the amount of times people go, oh, I just fell into it. Right. Or maybe there's energies we each have and it's the type of like the poles, right? The positive, negative energies. And it's like, oh, this one's attracting, this magnet's attracting me over here. It might be bumping into walls, but it also might be the attraction to those certain bumps in the walls or whatever.
Right.
Because it was the same thing, I think, even with us in 6 Degrees, and I had no idea that something like this even existed before we moved here. And then I happened to connect with the owners on LinkedIn, and then I just like these little steps, and then it all came to fruition, and I was like, oh, this is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. Right. And I think it's, I don't know, that law of attraction, and it just kind of it comes out of us for whatever reason.
The walls can bump us into the right direction.
Yeah.
If we let them, it's a good analogy.
For what it's worth, I'm sure that somewhere inside of me that it's something that it's part of me. It's like the organic process. There is probably one. You know what I mean? I am probably in some way in my lizard brain have some kind of idea of what I'm trying to do, and then just taking the steps to put myself in the places of opportunity for those. Right. It's just I don't have the frontal cortex vision where I've made a plan and I'm executing it. It's more guttural. Yeah, it's more organic.
Well, so I have a thing where I hate plans. I like goals, not plans, has been my thing. I say plans need to be in place to execute things, but the long term. For so many people, we're going to get married, we're going to go buy a house, we're going to have a kid, and then build a whole plan around that. Right. Life doesn't happen that way. Yeah. What's the goal? So what's the end result that we're chasing? Because it's going to zig, it's going to zag. But if I know the end result, if I have the idea of that, I don't care how we get there. Right. Mm-hmm. As long as we just keep moving towards that. Right. That's helpful.
Progress
for me.
Every day.
I had to have a North Star.
Right.
More than like a specific vision or a specific plan.
Yeah.
Right. And I feel like you have, from the conversations we have, and maybe it's more for your family, but there's a North Star that's kind of pulling.
My North Star is I don't want to let anybody down ever. So it's maybe a little bit of something I need to unpack and put a better title to it. But yes, I want to see, I do have a vision of success.
Yeah.
Right. I guess. I do have a vision of success. What does that look like? It's my version, my definition of success for sure, not anybody else's. But yeah.
What is your definition of success if you're willing to share?
Yeah. So my definition of success is to be in a position to be able to provide for my family, even if no one else can. And by the way, my, husband absolutely does. So it's not like it's something that is being calculated, but to be in a place where I can provide for them, but also maintain my relationships, in not only with them, but with everybody. So in other words, I don't want to be married to a job.
Sure.
I want to be married to my work. I want to be married to my husband.
Yeah.
I want my kids to know their mom. That's kind of the vision I have for us as a family, is just to stay as close, just to remember the humanity of our journey from here to them, my kids being adults. As long as I can keep that at the core of what I'm doing, and being able to provide just enough to make sure that everybody has their needs and maybe a little bit of their wants, I think that's success for my family. For me personally, I want, my professional life is important to me, of course. It is what I would call the means to the ends with my family life and maybe my personal. But I love what I do because I have wonderful relationships because of it, and I'm actually able to do good. I'm actually able to help, I think, people who are in maybe one of the most miserable points in their life, and take their hands and show them there's light on the other side. Let me take you through the darkness. And that's a really special thing to do. I'm appreciative of it, but I don't know if I have the vision for what that looks like more than every single client I get. I hope that I can help that client get through darkness.
Yeah.
So long term, what does that look like? Just being able to do that and not lose myself no matter what happens with my business. Not lose the humanity of what I do, no matter whether I grow my business, whether I take a different turn or what have you. Just being that professional who can be a person first and remember what it is. We're talking about death. We're talking about disability. We're talking about sometimes some of the most tragic things people have ever experienced. Keeping that part of me at the core of me, no matter what it is that I'm focused on in the business side, the revenue side, the strategy side, that's secondary. So that was my family. That was my business, which is a little more amorphous, but it's just kind of staying true to me as a person. And then for me personally, I think I would like to, I mostly just want to make people proud of me. I have a lot of civic roles that I play. They're very low level, but civic roles that I play. I serve on a number of boards. I want to just show, I guess maybe I'm always trying to make my dad proud of me in a way, even though he's not here to really recognize it or see it anymore. But I just want to make sure that people know that I guess I'm worried. I've taken from a system, if you will. I've taken my whole life from a system. I haven't really done a lot of volunteer work. I haven't done a lot of philanthropy, all that. Mostly I've been growing and needing, as a person and as a small young family, and just learning how to exist in my neighborhood, if you will. I've been pulling from a system in a way, and at this point I want to give back in a way that everyone can kind of know that I was not a net negative, that I want to pour myself back into my community, and at least when the day comes when I can no longer do this anymore, that I have brought myself, my ledger balanced in terms of what I've contributed as a person back into my community. So a little bit of a debt I feel like I'm paying in a way. And I just want people to look at me and say, like, no, she gave hers back. She's not taken from us. She's a positive, hopefully, but at least not a net negative. And there's something that I don't know what that is, but I have like a debt to pay, I feel. But it's in a good way. I am appreciative of what I've had personally in the community that I've built. I've lived in La Mesa for 20 years.
Yeah.
And so it raised me from a 21-year-old baby to a 41-year-old, maybe slightly older than baby.
Well, we found out the other day when we were over is that you've been in the same house since 21, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
20 years this year since I was 21. Exactly.
21
yeah,
years.
Yeah.
To me, I don't know many people that I went to, when the people live at home through college, I go to community college. I did that for a couple of years.
Yeah.
But you were on your own in a house and have stayed in that house.
And my equity, my interest rate, which I, of course, capitalized on the less than 3% interest rates for the second and a half we had them. So now I'm probably going to die in that house.
You're
too.
never going anywhere.
Hopefully it's not for a long time. But yeah, that house will have much of my story in it. But I love my little La Mesa,
I appreciate it so much. I grew up, my mom had the same house for 30 years.
Yeah.
And that was home. Right. And she just sold it a couple of years pretty much during the pandemic.
Yeah.
My sister had kids and she moved out to Denver, and I was like, I'm going to go be grandma.
Yeah.
You guys are both gone. What am I doing here?
Right.
This big house, big empty house.
Because
and
it's the only thing that would get me to move to, so I get it.
Yeah,
Respect
and it was
good choice.
it was like a bittersweet thing, right? Because it was, so people have asked us like, oh, do you guys go back to Chicago? You go back home a lot? I was like, this is not home anymore.
Yeah.
Like, here, this is home. I have friends here. I have family here, or not family, but Christina's mom's here, and this is more home than Chicago is.
I've never moved though, so I mean, there's good and bad to that. But other than growing up in Lakeside, and I moved around in between as a young adult, but landing in La Mesa, those are 15 minutes apart on the freeway. So your worldview is certainly larger than mine because of that. So, but there's good to that too. My roots are deep, I always say. I'm a giant tree. You can always come back to me. My roots are deep. My branches are high. If you move away and you want to visit or you want to come back, you know, we have a very large social group. We have a very large friend group. A lot of them have moved away in the last, I don't know, as we all became kind of young families, young adults. But they often cycle back through my house. Many of them lived in my house at one period of time or another. Through college, through law school, I was making very little money because I was a support staff at law firms, at a law firm. And so I was renting out all my rooms. So it's been kind of cool, though, to watch people go off and live their life, and then they come back through. They stay at our house for a week, and
you're a big
them.
tree.
I'm a big tree.
You're a big tree
Which
in the neighborhood.
makes sense, doesn't it?
It
because
makes a lot of
I
sense.
love the trees, the environment generally. So,
Well, and so we've only known you for a couple of years, but in those couple of years, and so just hearing you talk about wanting to be a net positive in my eyes, and I can say that a lot of other people that I've talked to share this same sentiment, that you are a net positive. Like, that's, I hope that that's something that you can feel sooner rather than later, because so many people, I mean, even the friend community that you've built up, that we've experienced, and they all love you so much, and they truly, I think I have seen people feel so much love just being in that space with you, that you're providing so much. You're providing a home for people, really. The events that we've gone to at your home, and then like we've visited war, it's so special. I mean, it means so much to the people that you're influencing. And even, I mean, I see how much work that you're putting in for the environment. And I mean, literally going up and picking up buckets of trash. There's so much that you're doing already that I hope that is something that you can see, that there is no debt. You are already doing so much that people appreciate and love and really cherish about being able to be in your life. So
Christina has officially pardoned you from your debt.
You have been pardoned.
Now somebody could take a look at my student loans. That'd be nice. I'd love it. Thank you
from your social debt.
Yeah, social. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I think I am so moved. So thank you for saying that. I think in a way I know that. Again, this is the time in my life. I'm going to go back to what I said in the beginning about energy. Like, this is the time in my life when I think, again, observing so many others, especially through my work, but also through anything. This is the period where I have the most ability, the most energy, the most everything, that I think what I would call the peak. And of course, I don't know, there may be for future peaks. There probably will be. But I have it in me now to do and to give and to offer. And I won't always. Hopefully, I will have a nice, long, physically comfortable enough life. But I know that there will be just that downslope where you just kind of slowly start to lose energy and don't have that anymore. You're ready anyway. And I'm lucky enough to have a grandmother who's still alive, 92. And she's still moving and shaking and doing things that I only dream of doing, and I'm 92. But at the same time, I see the slowing and the decline.
Yeah.
And I just want to be able to know that I gave it my all while I had it. Yeah. And so maybe it's a debt forward too.
Yeah.
trying to hedge my bets.
Put some money in the piggy
So
bank
thanks
for
for
later.
the backwards debt, but now I'm giving myself future debt, and that I'm working off.
Sure.
Well, so Christina's grandpa is 104.
104.
Oh, man, that is cool.
Gonna be 105 in March.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's wild. And he was.
And I think he's been 104 for the last few years.
Okay.
He said 104, and when he turned 103, it was like 104.
He gave himself an extra year. He was like,
at some point you just start doing what you want.
Yeah. He's earned that.
Yes, of course. Hey, Grandpa,
he's earned as many years
you let
as
us
he
know
wants.
what you want on this cake, and we're going to write it down, okay?
Yeah.
This is your game.
Yeah. Which is wild to think about. I don't want to wish ill upon my
Think
future
about
self,
the world
but
104 years ago.
No,
When
okay,
he was-
that's insane.
Or
Crazy.
so he like
Yeah.
so he doesn't remember probably 4, but like 100 years ago when he
Yeah.
was 5, there's memories in there somewhere of
Oh,
that.
yeah. The world.
That was pre-World Wars.
right.
It might have been in the middle of the first, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. My grandmother, too, she was born in 1933, and she grew up on a farm in Texas. Truly a farm in Texas, single shack. She tells the story, and she has a clear mind, all her capacity. So when she tells the stories, you're just like, they traveled by a wagon in town. You know, they had cars. So I'm not going to say they didn't have cars, but her family didn't. My family didn't. And from that to the internet,
Right,
which is not AI or whatever we are right now.
Just
so
to
crazy.
flip it into be
Yeah.
her or
Yeah.
your grandpa, and to see the world as it is when like that's my reference
Right.
point,
Yes.
right? And to be like, if I gave AI, this is insane.
Right.
This doesn't even make sense.
Right. And some of that makes a lot of sense too, because it's my grandma, when I talked to her, we're not aligned politically, for example, but she comes from a definitely different world, truly a different world,
era.
a different era. And I love her to death. So this isn't important to even know what it is that she believes. It's just that when she says things, I'm like, well, of course that is born of the era you are from, right?
Well, it makes sense for
that
her.
makes sense. It makes
Like,
sense for her, and that is her reality.
Right.
And she often says, I don't really understand the world these days. And that's true. That's a true sentiment, right?
Yes.
It kind of helps me want to remind myself as best I can, because of course I'm a product of my own era, but to try to keep that open-mindedness for my own kids and whoever comes after them, you
Yeah.
know, because it is, only know what we know.
Does anyone understand the world today? Though?
You're right.
I
I didn't mean to make it so esoteric. I'm sorry, you guys.
No, these are I love these conversations because it's true. And it's interesting even to think about, especially with how fast everything's growing with technology now, and not even 10 years from now, 5 years from now, like what does the world look like?
Right.
Because it just changes so drastically, so quickly.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know.
AI is at the core of a lot of the conversations that I have these days. And I think I'm very hopeful that no matter what, like my grandma, the person that she is what shines through. And that's the important thing. Do I have to really know everything? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, but technology, in other words, it's hard to even say what 5 years will look like. But I hope that you're still you, and you're still you, and I'm still me. And that is what I care about.
That we're not being operated
That we're not
by
being operated, that
machines.
we haven't assimilated our thoughts to be more machine-like or have machines that passes people. Those are the things that my conspiracy theory mind worry
Probably
about.
not in 5 years.
Probably not in 5, but 20. Yeah, dang it.
Dang
when
it.
you start talking about like 10 years, like 10 to 20, I think it gets.
I guess the
think
good
it
news
gets
is we'll be
very-
along for the ride, and we'll see it.
Front row seats.
Yeah.
Front row seats to this crazy thing.
Well, as long as you're you and you're you, I'll know to talk to you and no one else. That's a
Deal.
lie. I'm going to fall for the first AI bot person there is. So I'll be like, hey, friend.
It's already
Yeah.
happening.
No,
It's-
I know. There's videos that I can't. I'm already experiencing if I am scrolling or whatever. Now I'm just like, well, is it funny? Because if it's AI, I don't really care
Yeah.
for it anymore.
Right.
And so I've already started to see videos that aren't identifying, because there's a lot that still identify themselves as being AI, but if someone's really good, that they can take that watermark out. And so now I really think of, like, there was this cute little dog video, and I was like, this is so cute. Is it real?
Right.
And I hated that.
Right.
I hated feeling
Yeah.
like, oh, I have to question if this is real.
Probably one of the most important skills going
Yeah.
forward is
Right.
just to question everything, unless
Unless you're
we're in
IRL.
this.
Yeah.
We're in
IRL.
this room.
Exactly.
As my kids say.
For IRL.
Unless I am here and I see it, but even that, like, what's real? I don't. It's
No, that's really esoteric. But yeah, like just again meeting with these, I'm going to call them kids, but they're again these young adults just today in this program that I mentor in, that talking about the value of being in person. Remember, they were the ones who were not really
Yeah.
wanting to. They get a lot of anxiety, especially around new groups or new people, even around each other. And some of that's probably COVID. Some of it's so many other things. But just talking through just the value of being in people's space, like, together, sharing space together, and then even physical touch, like touching somebody's hand or arm or what have you. Just those exchanges are so critical to our health and our mental well-being, and just meet all the social goals, I guess, we have as humans, but it's going to be almost required soon enough because of that concern we have with AI, because of the concern we have with technology and where it can go. And so I'm hoping, again, getting people in person, being social, doing like you do with events, and making sure that people stay connected to other humans and know what humans are and sound like. And it's going to become like its own industry, if you will. Just teaching people reality from non-reality.
So much of the anxiety, the isolation, the loneliness, like the way, the cure for that is to practice.
Right. Get in person.
Is to experience it.
Right.
And then be around a bunch of people that are okay with naming like, hey, this is uncomfortable.
Right.
And working through that.
Right.
And then
But
doing
we're
it
here
enough.
anyway. Yeah.
And doing it enough
Right.
to get to a place. It's like anything else. It's practice.
It's
Right.
practice. It's all social skills or skills. Yeah. You got.
But the problem is it's practicing something that is literally like terrifying.
Yeah.
Right? And
But
crippling.
isn't that anything? I mean, think about, unless I'm just like a naturally born athlete that can do something, right? Like the first time that I walk a balance beam, the first time that I make a sales call and pick up the phone, the first time I do anything, it's scary. It's terrifying. And so, yeah, the practice piece is where I'm going to get more and more comfortable and understand this is how I make the call, or this is the practice that I need to put in place to even the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, pick it up, and like, you know, whatever it might be. But I think exactly to your point, it's practice, and we need to be able to have spaces to do that.
The difference is 10, 15 years ago, I could practice and no one was going to record me and
Yeah.
make,
Well,
make
sure,
fun
that
of
is
me
right.
or
Yeah.
right. So much of we're in a comedy show, a comedy club. So much of any really successful comedian will tell you like, oh, I've bombed. I had to go do 5, 10 shows a week and put in the reps.
Right.
But none of that is footage that anyone will ever see.
Right. Right.
Today it is.
Yes, that's
right?
true.
And I think that's part of the anxiety for kids
Yes.
is like,
What if I
this,
get
what if my
posted?
worst moment becomes public
Yes.
and at 17, 15, 13,
Absolutely.
like it's,
Well, and it's
a
getting
completely different, the risk
easier.
is higher. I
Yeah,
guess is-
yeah. And it's getting easier and easier to get recorded, right? Like there's literally glasses that people wear
Right.
now that record things. This is kind of a little bit of a tangent, but I don't even know where I heard this. But they were like, yeah, I think, like I felt really uncomfortable. It was a female going in to get waxed, like a Brazilian. And her esthetician was like wearing meta glasses or whatever.
Right.
And I think she had a moment of like seeing her with the glasses, and the esthetician realized that in her facial expressions, she was like, "Oh well, no, it's not recording right now. It's turned off." But like, how is she supposed to know that, right? Like,
Yeah.
how is she supposed to know if it's recording? And I thought, wow, that's terrifying.
That is.
I mean, yeah, no, like, does there have to be something put in place where those are not allowed in a situation like
I
that?
don't,
Like, you know,
I don't actually believe that Alexa, Google Home, all of the things that
Yeah.
like when they're off,
They're not.
that
That
they're
they're actually off.
They're not off. How can they be off? When
Right.
you ask for them, they turn right on. That come on.
They're on. Right?
They're on. They're listening. They have to.
I would imagine could be similar.
You know,
Not
maybe we
necessarily
need
saying-
spaces where, and first of all, as I obviously I can't speak to being a kid right now or a young adult right now, but like as a parent, this is huge, right? Everybody has something to say about your parenting and
Sure,
how, and the
yeah.
moment that a kid does anything a normal kid would do, crosses the street unexpectedly, if they, you know, or what, it could be anything. Immediately everybody jumps on and think. I have not had this happen because I'm constantly thinking about what does it look like to be a parent right now, and trying to kind of, I have to almost project an image instead of just parenting. And I think a lot of parents feel that. So imagine like a kiddo gets hurt, or maybe something gets broken or stolen, or I don't know, something that wouldn't be so extreme that you would be shocked at something a kid would do, and all of a sudden people jump on and say, "What are you doing? Where are the parents? Where's the mom?" You get that a lot.
Oh,
Where's the
yeah.
mom?
Yep.
But what are you supposed to? What are
Yeah,
the
it's
expectations?
hard to
Because
parent in
like
front
it
of
was
the world.
It was when I grew up. It was like I got spanked,
Right.
And
Right.
that's not okay
For
anymore.
me, how I personally experienced this, and it's actually been okay. So I don't want to say it's been bad, but I had to really go through it with myself and with Kevin, my husband. We let the kids travel the neighborhood, right? And Kevin, if you didn't know, he's 51. He might be 52. I have to do the math real fast, but he's 52, and definitely Gen X. You know, grew up certainly by 12, my son's age, hopping on a bike, going where we're in the
Yeah.
neighborhood, going into
Yeah.
Tecolote Canyon. That's where he grew up. He grew up locally here too, and just would disappear. Me too. I'm country. I grew up in Lakeside, so I would leave in the morning during the summer, especially, and come home sometime in the evening. If I wanted to stay at a friend's house, I'd have the mom call. My parents. So we were pretty hands off with the kids because of our own upbringing, and we have definitely felt the eyes of parents who are like, "Is this your kid walking up the street? Yeah, she's going to her friend's house. Going to her friend's house. Yeah, what have you." Thankfully, our close neighbors know us and they know we're responsible parents. But as they got further and further away, we would sometimes, people would, as we walk, like, "Do you know that kid up the street? On their bike? Yeah, it's our kid.
They're
It's
fine.
okay."
Yeah.
They had watches. They have a way, like emergency. But
Right.
also you could just, if you had an emergency, tell people who your parents are, what your address is.
Yeah.
You're in your own neighborhood, for heaven's sake. They just happened to be 9 and traveling the neighborhood to a friend's house. But with the idea, so this is where we felt we were being the parents that we wanted to see, letting our kids go experience the world without us, because you can't just ask a kid at 18 to turn on the ability to self-manage, find their way home, interact with strangers, navigate.
Right.
You have to practice. It's a skill, like anything.
Yeah.
So we were letting the kids, and still now they have even greater range, but practice. But we were, for a little while there, it was like, who lets their kids out to wander the neighborhood at 9? It's like, well, it's just your neighborhood.
Right.
And the reason I bring this up now is we're thankful, even if we haven't gotten anybody record them that we know about and use that against us or what have you. But these are things you have to think about. If somebody really, if one of my kids got hurt, for example, roaming the neighborhood,
Sure.
the immediate thing that would happen is somebody would video it and post it and say, where the hell are his parents or her parents? Why weren't they right next to him?
Right.
Why weren't they being a good parent? Remembering at 12, my husband and I would separately, but we would disappear all day.
Oh my God, yeah.
We didn't even have a phone to call our parents.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's manifested in my life like this. So I have to take that same concern and focus and energy and just apply it to the kids, everything, every day. It's awkward to be a teenager or a preteen. It's awkward, and you're figuring life out. You're just developing your brain and your social skills, and to have it done very publicly in a lot of ways and under the microscope. I can understand why these kiddos, again, these young adults that I'm talking about, have anxiety in a new situation. Exactly what is it that I have to try to pretend to be so that I'm not vilified publicly by the whole world?
Yeah.
Maybe we just need these spaces where these things aren't allowed, where everybody gives up their phone at the front.
Things were
I
a lot
would
simpler.
Love that.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. I mean, I'm thinking like, God, but the Midwest isn't like that. But I haven't been back to my little tiny town in 10, 12 years. And so I don't know. But I remember the same thing. I mean, it was literally 1 square mile of a town. There's only so many places kids can end up.
Right. Right.
But everyone is just wandering around, riding their bikes from house to house, just out and about. And granted, the town, because it's so small, I feel like any adult who's seeing, like, there's kind of like a pulse on the kids, because there's adults all around that are watching, quote unquote, they're just not like babysitting. But I wonder how much that has changed in that town, if at all, because I feel like the Midwest has always just been a little bit more like,
country.
Country and blue collar, and we're all farmers, and we're right. Like it's just.
I still had that growing up, and it was a little less country, a little bit more rural.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, for you for sure.
And I remember growing up, our neighborhood was a brand new neighborhood. Like there's photos and video of like our house being one of the first in like the development.
Wow.
And growing up, basically the whole neighborhood, no one had fences. I had all my friends, and everyone would just I would just run
Move
through
between
my
houses.
like go to the backyard, and then fast forward 10 years, everyone had fences. I just remember like there was a moment someone put up a fence because they got like a dog or something, and all of a sudden everyone started like I just like the meta version of just, it was a reflection of kind of like society a little bit of like, this is my
This
yard,
is mine.
Yeah.
and that's yours.
Status.
But growing up as a kid, it was just, I would literally just go out back cross the backyard and knock. It wasn't even front door. It was like knock on the window.
Right.
Like,
Come out and play.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, how fun.
It's a different, they're much, Christina, much like you're saying with, having a pulse on the kids. I do want to say, and I want to like honor my neighbors and my co-parents, if you will, in my neighborhood, that we do generally have that. Like, you kind of know whose kids are whose or what have you.
For sure.
But it took a little while for us to feel comfortable, even if, why? Because you're doing everything under a very wide microscope, potentially, But I'm glad we do it this way. like I said, these kids, they need to develop all of these skills. So now we send our kid, actually, this is my son. My daughter has not done this yet, but Giovanni, my son, who's 12, he now gets once a week, he does dinner for the family, just again, practicing skills.
Yeah.
So he has to do everything about the dinner. He has to decide what we're going to have for dinner. He walks down to our local shop. So from where we shop at a store called Fraser Farms, a half a mile away, hops on his bike and rides down with a shopping list, and would give him, you have to make this dinner work with $25 or $30 or what have you.
Sure.
He does the whole thing. He goes and he shops. Sometimes we have things. Sometimes he has to buy the ingredients or a little, usually a combination of both. Comes back and makes dinner.
That's awesome.
But just maybe a couple weeks ago, one of actually Ellen and my daughter's friends' parents was like, "Was that your son at the store the other day?" Like probably, yeah. Like he was just there alone. I asked where his parents were, and his parent, he said,
He's
"You were
12.
at home." Yeah, right. And I just want to make sure that was okay. I'm like, yeah,
No,
I mean,
he
she
snuck-
knew
he
it was
snuck out to go-
already,
he-
but
to
He
go-
snuck, yeah, he
he's-
snuck out to go grocery
Yeah.
shopping.
Yeah,
Wow,
what
what
a bad kid.
kid.
Right. But it was just funny because, of course, it's okay. You could see what he's doing and all this stuff. It was just even having to, I think that was her way of engaging, just like, hey, I was checking on him. It's
Yeah.
okay. I think that was what was happening, was this unspoken, I got you. Like if something had happened, I was
Sure.
there and I knew
Sure.
it was your kid and all these things. So I think there was actually a supportive statement happening there. But in a way, I felt a little defensive because it's almost like,
Yeah.
well, it's just a half a mile away, and he's practicing his money and his
Well,
dinner
12 is,
making.
12
and,
is
yeah.
like, he can stay home by himself.
Right.
Right? Like,
Yeah. There's no hard and fast rule, but yes.
Like,
Right.
I would
Yeah.
imagine like 10, 11, 12,
By the time you're
somewhere,
12, you're-
somewhere around there. I don't remember.
You're given
Yeah.
opportunity to participate in
Yeah.
much of life by 12.
So how many meals has he cooked at this point, roughly?
So it's once a week, and we've been doing it for maybe 6 months.
Okay.
So what is that?
Nice.
Yeah,
That's
I don't know.
24.
Half of 52. 24, is that right? That doesn't sound right.
6
Is
times
it?
4.
26? I don't know.
Oh, 6 months. Yeah. half of
Okay,
it.
yeah.
Sure, 26.
But yeah, so about that. There
That's
may have been a couple
amazing.
in and outs, like obviously not Italy, so maybe a couple when we did our
Sure.
trip. But other than those,
What's the best meal he's cooked?
he loves, so he likes to
Is
bring
it-
this often, steak and potatoes.
Okay.
Okay.
Steak, potatoes, and a veggie side,
Okay.
which he only has a few veggies he likes to tolerate. So he usually does some kind of cauliflower or a salad. He likes to make salad. He's good with that. He doesn't like cooked vegetables as much. So
Got it.
yeah,
Okay.
he's a
Ooh,
texture
that
kiddo.
was- that I can relate.
Yeah, he's a
I can
texture kiddo.
relate.
He's like, these don't taste like vegetables. These are mush, and they're not even that mushy. It's just so okay, son. But you, whatever, respect. You just did all the shopping, the prep, and
Yeah.
then you make what you want. My goal is for us to have a vegetable, and then enough other food to satisfy everybody. It's
I
just
love
something
it.
you don't think about.
Yeah.
No, it's a great life
thing you don't
skill.
think about.
I didn't do that.
Yeah.
My parents didn't do that.
No, me neither. And I wonder if some of it, because I don't enjoy shopping in any capacity for anything, and that includes grocery shopping. I don't. It gives me anxiety. I don't know. There's so many decisions to make, and
Right.
it's not something that I want to do. And so I wonder if some of that, if I was doing that from a younger age
Right.
and being sent off to do it on my own. I also saw a video of, and I don't know how old the kid was. Maybe around I'm gonna guess around 6, maybe 7. I don't know, but pretty young. And they had anxiety about going into like a In-N-Out or Chick-fil-A or something and just ordering at the counter on their own, but wanted to kind of face that and overcome it. And so yeah, it was, mom was not recording the kid necessarily, but like recording like, okay, my kid's gonna go in and do the thing, and went in and ordered their own meal
Yeah.
and the whole
Yeah.
thing, and came back out, and it was like, oh yeah, that was actually so
Right.
easy. It
Right.
was,
I
I was
saw
building
that.
up so much anxiety over it,
Right.
and
It's
and
like,
it
that
was
was
fine.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I do
It's
it
these
again?
little
It's
things.
an adventure.
It's an adventure,
for-
and then they get some power and autonomy and
100%.
like decision. And I don't know that we give kids enough of that anymore, and that's okay. Like, I don't want to harp on anyone else's parenting. Lord knows I'm not here to say that, but for me, it's been like my son and daughter both at this point ride their bikes to school every day. But for inclement weather, my son's riding 1.5 miles, and I trust him to get on his bike. We usually say goodbye in the morning if I'm working from home and don't have meetings, but that's it.
Yeah.
Get yourself to school
Yeah.
on time,
I had to do that.
right?
Yeah.
He's had a couple times a chain come loose or what have you, and he's called me once, like I have an issue, and I had to go retrieve him in the bike. He had a punctured tire. But other than that, he's got to fix his own chain. He's got to figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
Get yourself there. Get yourself home, son. But I don't know that that's I don't know how broadly that is everybody's goal,
I think
when it comes to parenting.
so much. I mean,
Maybe we would address this anxiety issue if there was more. And forgive me for speaking over
No,
you,
for
but yeah,
sure.
maybe this is at the core of when you just have a person telling you all the time how to do things, or you're constantly under video,
it's
or
part of it.
whatever. It's a little bit of both.
I think it's part of it.
And I think so much fear that there's just so much more access to the things that we are scared of that we're seeing. Like as a parent, I can't imagine thinking about the list of things that I'm already terrified of, how I'm going to screw up my child and the things that they can get into and the people that they might associate with or whatever those fears have been for however many centuries. But then now we literally have these phones in our pockets. We have so much access to so many things that are happening in the world. And, oh, if it's happening there, it must be happening here. And I mean, back in the day, it was like, oh, here's a headline of I don't know, someone who was kidnapped in this other city and some other place. And during like the next couple of weeks, maybe parents were a little bit more tight on like, hey, be home before dark. But then it would kind of loosen back up again because it wasn't happening in their town. So I think there's just so much more access to fear.
Yeah, the visibility is more. But I mean, also things like school shootings.
Well, yeah.
Not.
Yeah.
I mean, they still happened, not at the rate and not at. And
Yes.
It's this like
Mass shootings are relatively recent.
like that's
Columbine,
a
I think,
real
was
fear.
the
I would
real-
imagine most parents have, or like school used to be the safe place to like go to school. You will. I know you won't be in trouble.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily
Absolutely.
the case, as sad as that is to say in America.
Very privileged to have the opportunity. In fact, after this, I'm going to go to a meeting. I serve on a CBOC, which is a Citizens Bond Oversight Committee, where in my personal school district, my kids are in elementary, junior high at La Mesa Spring Valley. They have dedicated quite a lot of resources under a bond measure to safety. A lot. They've done it for many things, not just safety, but that has been such a core part of the conversation is how do we keep the kids quite literally and physically safe. And I'm so appreciative to my school district, my kids' school district, for all of the focus they've put on that. But my son's almost out of it. He's almost in high school. And I don't know if it's the same there. And that is a nervousness as a parent. First of all, it's kind of a bummer that they have to be almost behind bars. I know that's not the feeling and that's not the intention, and that's just the way that it appears from the outside. But you have to kind of lock the campus every day just to make sure that they feel safe, parents feel safe, the staff members feel safe. What a crazy world, right? But soon my kids will move on to the next phase of their lives, and here they'll be. And I am a pretty free range parent, but those things are real concerns. How do you keep the campuses safe? Yeah, it's its own brand.
I think kind of full circle part of this conversation. So like you're teaching your kids how to navigate uncertainty and giving them opportunities to practice and figure it out.
Yeah.
And what to do when your chain falls off the answer isn't call mom.
Right. Yeah.
The answer is learn how to
Figure out how to get it back on. Yeah. Right.
And I think that part of parenting is, again, I'm not a parent, so it's hard to. But
I took you on a whole parenting journey.
No,
Thanks for sticking with me.
It's okay. And I'm always interested because I think there's no amount of kids that you can have, that I could have, that any of us could have, that makes us a better parent.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, these kids, they're going to be your and my nurses and, doctors, and they're our providers. They're the people who are going to care for us at some point, regardless of whether you had them or not. So we have a collective interest in making sure that they're okay.
Yeah.
These kids are okay. So.
Well, just so much of it to me is so like, what are the values that you and your family have, and how do those get transferred, and how do those get reinforced within the way that each of us, whoever's parenting, and is that part of the conscious intention, or is it just I'm drowning and here's an iPad because it's easier, and no judgment on any of it, but I think just to have, well, what kind of person am I raising, and how are they going to be in the world? And I have a lot of influence, like as an uncle. So my sister has 2 kids. She's going to have a third in January. Can't wait to meet him. But it's the first time I have 3 tiny humans that I've seen from day one.
Right.
And I get to see the whole journey. And you as a parent, you see it up close and personal. You have front row seats to it. I get to see them a couple times a year, but I know them from the beginning. And even Christina mentioned on our relationship with you, we get the sliver of the last 3 or 4 years.
Right.
But there's so much more.
Yeah.
with kids is like, no, you see them from the very beginning.
Right.
You get to see them every day,
Yeah.
and from start to finish.
Right.
And then hopefully they go off into the world and
It's the goal. Yeah.
have a net positive.
Have a net positive. Net positive. At least neutral, okay? You just can't take more than you give, okay? Remember that when you're partying through college. You have to give back on the other side. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's my debt. I had a really fun college experience.
I'm still paying that. I'm still paying that debt then.
Ooh, I got some debt to pay now.
That's funny. I feel like my college was tamer than it should have been. But,
Yeah,
you know.
you did it a little bit different than me.
Yeah, some of us journey big in the front of our life. You have time though.
I have
You have
time.
You have time.
I can still go crazy.
Please don't.
I want to go deeper
Eric's
into
like,
my
"No,
debt.
It's like I am too positive. I am burdened by all of this positivity.
Please don't.
Eric's like, oh God.
Send help.
Send help. This was a question that popped up for me a long time ago in this conversation, and so I just want to circle back to it. With the work that you do, so much of it can be very heavy. So what do you do for yourself to bring you back to either neutral or positive when there is so much heaviness? How do you deal with that? Because I mean, there's probably a lot of people who experience things that are similar with their types of careers that are hopefully listening and would probably be able to take something from that.
I wish I was better at this because I'm just kind of person who just locks in and kind of deals with things and maybe has. So I think for me, I don't have a lot of the self-care in my day-to-day routine, maybe beyond. I do go for several walks a day. I really love being outside. So outside environment, we already kind of touched on that. Like anytime I can be in the sunshine or outdoors or touching dirt, touching grass, as people say.
Yeah.
Maybe for different reasons, but I'm hugging a tree quite literally. So being outside is huge for me. And in my day-to-day, I'm really only expressing that by going on a couple walks a day. I start my day every day with a 1 mile walk when it's not raining, a 1 mile walk with my dog, and then I usually do 2 more walks throughout the day just to get outside. I also work out 5 days a week or so, so exercise is a big one for me. I'm not in any athletic shape just because I sit all day, and it definitely can tell my own mental health waning whenever I go periods of a couple of days of not exercising at least some. So those two things are my day-to-days, but for me, I think I get big releases whenever I go, let's say, camping or on a big hiking trip or something where I'm just totally a break from my everyday reality where I'm indoors staring at 3 screens or addressing certainly other people's challenging, oftentimes traumatic, situations.
Right.
I want to be the best that I can be for them in the moment, so everything kind of gets pushed aside. I think I have that unwind or the release whenever I go into nature. I guess that's kind of it. So for me, we camp for our family. We camp often. We camp probably in a good year, but for, maybe around the holidays, we camp once a month. And I go on, oftentimes in these days, I think you've seen me, even in my journey through 6 degrees, I've changed a lot of my one-on-ones to walks and to hikes and to things that are kind of more in nature and wanting to hopefully share the experience if people want to do it. They don't have to, of course. I'll do whatever other people want, but it's like kind of honestly going out and like touching leaves and being outdoors. So for me, I think that is my grounding. Remember, I'm a tree, I guess. I didn't even think of myself as that until just now, but I call myself a tree, but maybe I really do just need to touch the dirt.
Yeah.
So my roots can feel the ground. Yeah, so I can feel the ground and just, so that's it. I think it's finding opportunity to go be in the place that I'm the happiest, and that's outside. That's often camping. I love the forest specifically. I love trees, so I go up north. We often camp at Cuyamaca Rancho, which is just past Descanso, like halfway up Julian Mountain. A state park out there that is just perfect. Weather's usually great. We're there probably 7-8 times a year.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of how I unwind. I don't have a lot of other outlets in my life. I think I don't turn the camera lens on myself very much at this stage of my life. It's pretty outward, focused on family and clients and life. And so, yeah, I don't know if I have anything other than those big releases and the walks. But
I feel like walking can certainly be a form of meditation, right?
Definitely.
It depends, right? It depends. Am I listening to something as I'm walking or am I just outside and enjoying? I mean, I think Eric is a crazy person for doing this, but when he runs, he doesn't listen to anything.
I listen to nothing, yeah.
Yeah, so...
I'm with my dog in the first walk of the day, so I'm usually talking like a crazy person to my dog. So people might think there's something wrong there, but she's talking back as much as she can. She's looking at me like I'm crazy anyway. But no, I like the quiet.
Yeah.
And I promise myself every time. I check a few things in the morning, just like I usually check how I sleep, my sleep score. I don't know. It's something
I started doing it. And
I don't know that it's good or bad, but it kind of...
I have a watch. I got a new watch recently, and I wear it when I run, and then I wear it at night. Okay. I don't wear it during the day.
Okay, I wear mine all the darn time. It's not good, but...
I don't know. But part of, I get out of bed, and I go, ooh, how does it say? I have no idea how it works. I'm like, I haven't had a chance to like look it up. But it's been really interesting because like, I don't know how accurate this like my setup is, but it's been probably a month.
Right.
And part of me is like, I wake up and I'm like, ooh, let me go check the thing. Mm-hmm. It's like an extra little boost of like, how did I do?
Yeah.
How did I do last night?
And is it a bad thing to want to be a better sleeper? It's not, right? At least not, I don't think, in our world. So anyway, I check my sleep score, and then that's the only time I look at my phone in the morning until I don't even have my coffee until after my walk. It's a little meditative for sure. Mm-hmm. About the sleep score thing, though, that's how I think of it, as we're very social on the weekends, which, you know, we're drinkers, and so that definitely impacts sleep.
You see it more when the numbers that you have, like
it definitely impacts my sleep. Yeah. And so it's kind of like a promise. I have a little bit of living in a world where I have pendulum swings one way or the other, right? So if I'm having my social self and, you know, I'm out having drinks or what have you with my friends, family, I'm going to sleep terribly that night. Yeah. I'm honoring something I already know is going to happen. But so the rest of the week, I try my very best to have really good sleep. So that I'm not... So I'm a neutral. See, look at me. I just try to live a very neutral life.
Because you have the Aura ring. Does it track? But you charge it at night, so you don't. Or
no, I wear it at night. Yeah, because that's one of the bigger parts is the sleep piece.
Is the sleep score is like a standard scale? Are both of yours out of 100?
It is out of 100, although I've never gotten over like an 84.
Oh, but so like here's been the interesting. So like Christina, we've talked about like my superpower is sleeping. I've never probably gotten below an 84.
No
like,
way.
I'm always good or perfect. The only times where the only time it's a little bit lower is when I don't sleep. If I go to bed at like midnight and I wake up at like 6, so I don't get like a full out like.
Wow.
It just kind of has reinforced like,
calibrated.
I'm really good at this.
You must be really good at this.
But I don't know how real. But so I drank. I did sober October, then I drank recently. More of like, like I have a night here. I'm gonna enjoy it, and it wasn't crazy. But I thought it would negatively. I thought I would see it. I definitely felt it, but I thought I would see it more on the score. And that one might have been like an 81. Like
wow,
like
mine is definitely
incredible. Because it hurts my sleep tremendously.
But yeah, I have like all of my sleep scores have been like good or perfect.
Wow.
So I don't know.
Good for you.
I don't know what.
I know. I'm like, wow.
Well, I mean,
I'm not bragging, but I'm kind of bragging because I always thought I was good at sleep, and it turns out I am.
Wow, yes, this is.
But it's only been a month.
You have to monetize that. How can you monetize that?
I don't know.
Seriously.
Yeah, no, it's a little bit more of a wild swing on this one, and some of it's coming with age too, right? Like I'm into my 40s now. I can definitely tell it's different than 10 years ago, and certainly different than 20 years ago. So it impacts my sleep a lot more, but it's not to the point where it impacts days and days of sleep. It's just like that, you know. So I kind of make a deal with myself, like anything, with being social, especially drinking. I try not to drink during the weekday, and so not like I would enjoy on the weekends. But so it's kind of like a deal I make with myself. You be good, and then you can enjoy. But you got to be good. It's like work hard, play hard. You got to work as hard school nights. You got to work as hard as you play, and those two things shouldn't be out of balance. Certainly not in the wrong direction where you're playing too hard.
No, I feel like I've been mindful of that more this past like month and a half because of his sober October. And it's something that I thought the same thing. I was like, no, like when I know that I'm going to have, I mean, especially because it's football season. So
you're like, it's happening.
It's Sunday. It's football season.
Monday. It's Thursday.
Wait, it's all the days now.
Oh, no, it's every day now. Great.
But I do the same exact thing. I'm like, okay, I know that this day I'm going to have fun, and I'm going to commit to having fun in whatever capacity that looks like. And I know that, my sleep is going to suck, and I'm going to make sure that I'm good the rest of the week, and I'm getting up and I'm exercising and I'm doing the other stuff. So Yeah, I think that balance.
Finding a path of moderation through not being moderate at all. That's exactly how I live my life. Just like everything. I don't do moderation, but somehow I am very moderate. It's an average.
Like,
like
stretched out.
Stretched
out,
out
it's
averages.
moderate.
Yeah.
But very intense in certain intervals. Yeah.
It's in every interval.
Oh,
Just got to average them.
Well, I know that you have something to get to, so I want to be mindful of the time and everything. Hopefully, this wasn't super, this was harmless and felt like just chatting.
I appreciate the way that you formatted this. So yeah, I think what I don't necessarily love talking about in a recorded setting is about exactly what I do, because I don't know that I don't know. I always feel like that imposter syndrome comes out real fast. And I'm like, I really don't know what I do. And of course I do, but those are the times when I feel nervous about being put under the microscope of what is it that you do exactly. And so thank you for not making it feel like that at all. This was really lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I should probably just be okay with what I do. I interview every day. Every single interaction with a potential client or any, what's an interview. I don't know why it's so... I think these things are the things that drive me forward.
Yeah. Well, what's a good reinforcement? Well, we started with grateful.
Right. For our health, our ability, our social group, our support networks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, we could just simply do like, what's our takeaway from this time together?
My takeaway is one of gratitude for you two, because there are so many things that I have felt in my life that I have not developed well or had the opportunity to even think about, or just skills that I've always admired, but maybe really never took the time to understand what it takes to get from here to there. And you've put together a group. You've put together opportunities, quite literally. We're sitting here right now where I could personally take time to myself, turn that camera lens in on myself, and grow. And I don't know that I've had a lot of space where it was a lot about me in my own time and how I can be better for other people. Truly true. But I don't know that I've ever really been in a group where I could just have that time to develop me. And I appreciate that you've made that.
Yeah.
You've created that, and you have taught me, both of you, quite a lot in the last couple of years. So I really, really appreciate you as just humans for doing that, making this space.
We've learned a lot from you too. So thank you.
Thank you for
that. That's very sweet.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm taking away is, so as much as we've gotten to hang out with you and come to your house and come to a holiday party or your Halloween parties and different things, this is a different space. And I learned so many different, like more just details around some of the why. So just sitting with appreciation for you sharing and being comfortable to share and everything that you just said. I'm sitting with that. I've had that happen multiple times in this setting where it's like, we know some people and we've gotten to know them fairly well over the last couple of years. And then to have this space and this time where there's a lot just more presence in the room, and it's just like, it just feels a little bit different. So I feel like I know you even better and even more love for you and everything that you do. So thank you.
I would echo the same thing, because I think that even the conversation about raising kids and just like how real that is, and I've certainly seen it and I felt it, right? I absolutely loved like how extremely proud you were to like show me what your son created and how cool it was for the Halloween party. Like I love that so much, because I see my mom in that, because my mom's the same way. Like anything that I do, she's like, oh my God, right? So I was just like, this is so lovely. And so just being able to actually like sit down and have this conversation about the way that you're raising these wonderful humans, and it's in line with so much of what we want to do with the community building, right? And giving your kids the opportunity to go out and be out in the world. So that was just really wonderful to kind of get another peek behind like what's going on.
They're very lucky to have you.
Oh yeah.
And your husband.
I'm glad this is being recorded. I'm going to play this back for them so they know that.
There you go.
Especially when they're teenagers and I'm
they're
their
gonna
least
love it.
favorite
They're gonna love
person.
it. They're gonna love it. They're gonna love it right now. They'll appreciate this in like 20 years.
Right. Yeah, in 20 years. You're right. I'll play it at their weddings. Don't worry.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you. This was wonderful. So Amanda, she talks about on the episode that she is like a tree, and I just really feel that. And I loved, like, she said that her roots are deep, and it made me, when I was re-listening to it, it made me kind of take a step back and go, oh, I haven't been somewhere long enough to like really deepen my roots.
Right, because I mean, she's lived in the same house since college, which
Yeah, yeah.
one of the most interesting things that I learned about her. I don't know if I learned that in this episode or recent. It was a recent thing. I learned about it this year.
We learned about it at her Halloween party.
Yeah, it was within the last couple of months. But yeah, I think it says a lot about someone to be in the same house that they went to college in and have had roommates in, and how that's just it's a little bit of a kind of a teleportation pod, right? Like, I'm sure, like, think about if you went and saw someone and they're just in the same spot
Okay.
from back in college, and like it takes you back there a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Like there's this grounding nature to it of,
Right.
And I don't mean that in like a negative way. I'm just like, oh, you're still doing the same thing.
No, I didn't hear any negative in that.
Yeah. No, I think it's so cool. I don't know anyone that's like, oh yeah, I've lived in the same house. My kids are growing up in the same house that I went to college in, and
Yeah.
that's a really deep roots and special experience.
Yeah, which just ties back into the way that she's built the community, and I feel so that home has literally been home to many people at this point. And I every time I go there, it feels like home, right?
Very
It feels like regardless if it's my first time stepping foot into that home or not, it feels like home because of how she has built it.
Sure.
And yeah, I think that I really loved the visual of the tree and the deep roots, and now her roots they're out into like the community, and she's giving back so much, and she's got some really exciting things coming up and into the new year that I just like the deeper and deeper roots. And it did really, for me, it was a whoa, my roots are like little baby roots.
What's the longest you've ever been somewhere? Consecutively?
Well, here at this point.
In your life?
Well, not in my life ever, but I think like my adult self. When I went back to Kansas, I moved there right before 7th grade. And then I was in the same school from 7th grade all through high school. I mean, it was essentially the same school. They're attached. So middle school, high school, all in that same town. So I guess my longest would have been the 6 years of middle school and high school being in Lindsborg, Kansas.
So one more year here will be the longest.
Yeah.
It would be equal to the
longest I've ever lived in one place at a time. Yeah, the roots thing.
Stuck with you?
Well, it did. And then I started thinking about, well, okay, is it just time that has an effect on the roots, which I don't think it does. I feel more rooted here in San Diego than I have felt in other places, and that's to me because of the community, because of the people, because of who I have in my life. So maybe my tree has been watered here more than in other places that I've lived. And so my roots are
Sure.
deeper here in a shorter amount of time than other places, potentially. I don't know. Is this resonating with you at all?
Yeah, no, I would agree. I mean, if I've only lived one other place besides Chicago, and it's here, and in a very short amount of time, because of the nature of what we get to do and how we're around people and the way that the people that are part of this community are all over San Diego, it feels like most people, when you move somewhere, my guess is I stay in my little bubble, and it's really easy for me to stay in my bubble.
Yeah.
And our bubble grew really fast, and it kind of forced us out of a bubble.
Yeah.
In a way that I think that most people they just don't have a reason to necessarily, right? So yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Not having a reason to expand out of my bubble.
Part of it becomes, so why do the roots feel so deep, and to like reverse, how do we reverse engineer what we actually have done? Because there's some magic in it. So many places talk about community, and there's online communities, and there's a level of connection and there's a level of depth that we've gotten to with so many people, some more than others. And like there's some, like, again, there's some magic in that. So it's like, how, like, why why has that worked? I guess I'm trying to just deconstruct this is a deep dive on Amanda's episode, and you're like, the relationship that we have with her is so special.
Mm-hmm.
And well, so why is that different than anyone else that's part of the community?
Yeah.
Right. And part of it is we've been invited to things. She's opened up her home.
Yeah.
I've been invited to things that she's hosted, and we've attended those things, and that's a small piece of it.
Well, I mean, if I think about some of the closer relationships that we have just within the 6 Degrees community, it's the people that we've spent that kind of time with, right? It's people have invited us into their homes. People have spent time with us outside of the 6 Degrees events and groups and things that we're hosting.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some people that we've done that with once. There's some people that we've done it with 3 times, and there's some that we've done it with 10, 20, 30. I don't know. I mean, it keeps growing. And just with the nature of like how friendships build, and I mean, the interests that we have around anything, like sports or drinks or anything. So I think that's the door that we've walked through. And then, of course, once we're in that space with somebody, that's where the magic is going to happen. And that depends on how each of us approach building that relationship. How do we start building the trust? And it's connecting over things that we have in common. It's sharing the vulnerabilities. It's being real, and everything that we talk about when it comes to how do I build depth in a relationship with somebody? How do I show up and be present? Mm-hmm. How do I show up and listen and genuinely care about the other person?
Yeah. I think there's a how-to here a little bit, and that's what I'm trying to get.
Okay.
Of like, what is it? So yeah, part of what I know is, and we've talked about this, of like, if we say yes to something, we're going to show up to it.
Sure.
Like that's part of it. Like it's as simple as, if I'm invited to something, I'm usually the person that's like, I say yes to most things.
You do. Mm-hmm.
And I try to, expectation wise, like I'm if I'm free and I don't have anything going on and I'm interested, I will be there. And if I say yes, I'm going to show up. So I think at like the very tip of the iceberg is if I agree to be there, it means a lot to just show up. Is a really, really simple way to like start building some sort of relationship. You invited me to something, I said yes, and I show up, right? Or if I can't make it, I communicate that, right?
Right.
And then I think there's levels to that, and there's layers to how to actually go about being intentional with developing the relationship part. And so even like as we're talking right now, I'm like, oh, like we should have more people over at our house. If that was one of the most impactful things that we're like, the reason that we're close with someone in our community. And there's a handful of people that have been to our place, and smaller, and I know why there's reasons that we haven't.
Yeah, and those
people
are reasons, stories, excuses, right? I mean, I will admit I use Sophie as an excuse often, just because I get nervous now with the way that Sophie has reacted to certain people since we've moved here. And again, that's just an excuse. Like there's so many things.
She's never actually bit anyone.
No, and she's never even come close. Like it's not even that. And then there's like okay, yeah, sure, it's small, but like whatever. We could invite 4 people over and have 6 people total, and we can make that work. It's full and it's going to feel full, but that's a totally doable thing. And there's no excuse around that. So you're right. That is a really great observation, is why don't we invite people over more?
I think the biggest thing is it's nice to not host things. I think we do a lot of hosting, and if we didn't do as many events as we did, it would be easier to say yes to that.
Yeah.
That would be the number one reason.
I would agree. I mean, because to me too, like the hosting piece, when that comes into play, it's like, well, I don't cook, and so as a host, typically the host is going to have some kind of food.
I make bread now.
Well, you do make bread now. So yeah, but again, it's like, okay, well, I can host and I can go get a spread and do some type of catering and like problem solved. So
Sure.
yeah, all right. Well, okay, so maybe one of the goals of 2026 would be to host more people in 2026. The conversation with Amanda about the independence that she's teaching her kids was it's just so fascinating, because like there was just from what she shared, and I don't know how much of, the judgment she feels within the people who are like, oh, you're letting your kid go to the grocery store by themselves. And
Why did you get an accent?
I don't know. I don't know. I broke into some weird character.
Who was that?
Maybe I was just giving the person who I feel like is being judgmental a voice that I found annoying, because why be judgmental about it? That's probably where my brain subconsciously pulled that from. I almost found it like frustrating to hear that, of course, it's what happens in a lot of parents. They're judging other parents for the way that they're parenting, and it's like everyone's just trying to do their best. And I actually really freaking admire the independence that she's teaching her kids, and the fact that like her son is putting together a grocery list and going to the grocery store and getting all the ingredients and creating the meal. Like those are life skills that most people don't even get taught at all. And it's like, yeah, that's amazing. Who are we to judge that?
Yeah. I think, yeah. I didn't have that. Did you have that?
Have what?
Go to the grocery store. You're in charge.
No.
Christina, you're in charge of dinner tonight. You're going to go you're going to walk down the street. Here's the money for your grocery list. You're going to go buy what you want, what you need. And then you're going to make dinner. Yeah,
no. How cool. And I'm not even saying that like, no, I didn't have that because my mom didn't.
Did you have a version of that? I guess this is the question I'm asking myself, is like, my mom did it in different ways.
Like the independence part. Well,
it was more of like, you're going to fail. I'm going to let you fail.
Yeah.
With some guide rails.
Yeah, I feel like, no, my mom had a lot of trust in me. So it might not have looked the same, right? It didn't look the same. I wasn't riding to, go get the groceries. But like, even the trust that she had in me to honestly ride the city bus at a young age, right? So I ended up getting like a city bus pass, and I had to be responsible for getting up in time to go to the bus stop, knowing like what the routes are and like how often, whatever, all of that stuff. I feel like that was definitely giving me some independence on being able to manage my own way to get to school, right? So yeah, I think that there was a few different ways like that, versions for my life, that I got to practice independence.
Sure. Yeah, I'm trying to think of how that showed up for me. Wasn't it you that told me like you got on a flight super early?
Oh yeah, I was flying, granted with the flight attendants, right? They have a supervisor, but I started flying without my parents when I was, I'm going to say 7. I would think I was 6, 7, maybe closer to 8. I don't know. It was around 7 years old. Don't do that. Don't do this. Stop it. God damn, this 6, 7.
I hate it.
Stop it.
I hate it.
Yeah, I think it was around 7 years old. It was when my mom and we moved from Kansas to Corpus Christi, Texas, and I flew back to see my dad. Within that first year of being there, I was flying back to see him. So,
would you say that that's in 2025? That's an appropriate age to send a kid on a plane? Because what year would that have been? That would have been before 9/11?
Yeah, it was well before 9/11.
Yeah, that would have been like the late 90s.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was
wow, not.
it was well before 9/11. Which I guess, so part of when you asked that, part of my brain was like, well, back then, like my mom literally waited at the gate with me until I
Right.
boarded the plane. Like she was literally by my side
Right.
until I got on the plane.
Right.
And then when I got off the plane, my dad was at the gate waiting for me, right? Like it was, I mean, the only time that I was without them was like on the plane itself. Granted, there were a couple times that there was layovers and I had to change planes, and that was a whole fun thing because I was like riding the little cart around, which is really only reserved. Well, I mean, because they like drive around and they're all going. I don't know. It's a whole adventure.
VIP.
As a kid, that was, yeah. I did feel like a VIP as a child. That's a really good example though of the independence piece. I mean, I just said that I had parents with me from gate to gate, but the plane ride itself, I was so social. I became friends with pretty much every single person I sat next to on any flight.
Yeah, because they're like, who the fuck is this kid?
And here's
Like,
okay,
how old are you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where are your parents?
But see, that's exactly what Amanda was talking about, where her
Yeah.
kids are going from their house to a neighbor's house to go play.
I would be so curious of just like, so in 2025, the parents in 2025, like, would you, if it was still possible, could you imagine doing it, and would you do it the way that it was set up? Like, there was a simplicity to the way that the airlines were set up.
Yeah.
I literally see
now
you go
it's-
on the plane,
Yeah.
and I see you get off the plane on the other side.
Right.
Right. There's someone there on both sides, and then the flight attendants, obviously. But yeah, I don't like, what's the age in 2025 with
now,
security?
I mean, yeah, exactly. Now, like, do I have to say bye at security and I can't even go through? And there's, I guess that there's a lot more room for error happening between leaving a kid at security and saying bye there.
Well, yeah, there's just
to
like, okay, I
going
gotta
to
go
the gate.
through this line, and then once I get through the line, I gotta find the gate, and then I gotta know what time the flight is at.
Well,
to
no,
be
I mean,
in.
okay, but like the only way that would like fly, pun intended, is if the flight attendant who's like assigned to the kid is with them from security
do they
through
do that?
everything. But
Do they do that?
I don't know at this point. Like that's the thing, is like I actually don't know what the rules are and how they.
protocol is.
I don't know what they do at this point with that. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what people do anymore.
I've never sat next to a tiny human under the age of 10 by
Right,
themselves.
it's like flying by themselves.
No, I would imagine it's socially frowned upon.
That's crazy. Those are some of my favorite memories.
I bet.
I
You
had
felt
a
like
blast.
you got to be a big kid.
Yeah. Well, and obviously now looking back, as an adult now, and if I was just like talking to a 6-year-old, 7-year-old, I mean, I did that for years. And what is the experience of me as an adult talking to this tiny human? But I will say, like, as the tiny human, I felt so adult, and I felt really smart. I felt like I was holding my own, having a conversation, like having more of an adult conversation than like a kid conversation.
Sure.
And I almost feel like the way that I was even treated by the people who I got to speak with, they talked to me like just a human being and not like a kid.
Well, yeah, because they think you're a genius on this. Did you buy your own ticket? How'd you get to the airport?
How did you get here? Yeah, that was really big for me. I loved every minute of that, and it was very seldom that I would, well, and because also that was before all these flights were all just we're just watching things on our phones, and we're
Sure.
not even socializing in any capacity.
Yeah, the social aspect of flying. It's hard to hear, too.
Yeah, but that hasn't changed.
Well, no, yeah, like it's more of like if I'm sitting next to two people and they just fucking talk the entire time, like I'm like, why is this happening to me?
But that's what the norm was.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
People used to smoke on airplanes.
Well, yeah,
That's
a long time ago,
that's crazy.
before you and I ever.
That's
I know
wild.
that actually is crazy because it's like This is the only air. The entire thing is like filled with smoke. That's crazy.
Well, also, we're lighting things on fire
In the sky.
in just 10, 20, 30,000 feet up in the air, and all an ash has to do is get on something, and
Sure. Yeah. Start a fire in the air.
Smokey the Bear would not have approved.
No.
That's all I'm saying.
Especially because that's probably going down in the forest, and there's even a bigger fire. Oof.
Or the ocean. Yeah.
Planes, trains, and automobiles.
Trains and automobiles.
I've never seen that. Have you seen it?
Of course you haven't seen it. Name a movie that you've seen. That's older than like an.
The Sound of Music.
It's not a musical.
Why? That's a solid historical. That's a solid movie. I was about to be like Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. That's also a musical.
For someone that went to like in theater and film and like your movie viewership surprises me sometimes of what you haven't seen.
Yeah, and I have mentioned multiple times, like, I was not your typical theater kid. I was not the person who was going to the thespian, whatever. I don't even know what it's called. I wasn't going to those things. I wasn't when I was in college. Like, I was like, yes, I was in the theater department, but not like minimally. Like, I was out, like, I was doing a lot of other things, and I wasn't like.
You were too busy for the movies.
No, hold on. I loved going to the movies. I actually, fun fact, and I still have these, throughout my entire high school, like my time in high school, I collected every single movie stub that I ever.
Oh, so we just need to look at those, and then there's a bunch that you haven't seen.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Show me your stubs.
But here's the thing is, like, I actually even wrote down on the back of all of them who I went and saw the movie with.
You literally kept receipts?
Yeah. So if anyone's in trouble of, like, I don't know, they've been trying to be framed. Yeah, if they need an alibi, like, and they were like, wait, no, I was with Christina at the movies that day. I can actually show them the proof of that.
This is good to know for me for the future.
Put her there, bub.
Put her there, bub. Show me your movie stubs and put her there, bub.
Show me your stubs, bub.